In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, we have a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Nikhil Kejriwal, and he is actually hailing over from Sofy. And Sofy is a very interesting product, so we're going to be talking all about this today. But Nikhil has also a very interesting story. He's a director of product marketing at the moment and has been going through interesting companies, nonetheless, eBay product marketing manager at eBay, working with eBay there, and Haptic senior marketing, product marketing manager as well, conversational AI product, and even being a founder of an interesting company before that as well. So interesting positions that he's been going through today, talking about Sofy and giving us an idea of what it's all about and how he's thinking about product marketing. So welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Lucas, for having me. You've done a great job at Pathmark itself with the podcast series, and really excited to be here and share some insights. So, we all use mobile apps every day, and it's one of the highest used products today. So most engineering teams, before releasing an app to you, they sort of want to test the app and make sure that it's working properly and there are no bugs and the user experience is great. So that process currently is very manual, or companies end up spending a lot of expensive dev resources or development resources to sort of make that happen. So that's exactly where Sofy comes in, wherein like engineering teams and quality assurance teams of mobile apps release bug-free apps. They save on device buying cost and improve their productivity using a no-code platform which Sofy has developed. We are in the enterprise DevOps space, and we sort of target companies like after a mid-market level, because like the companies which are relatively smaller, they are able to do the process manually.
Interesting. Okay, so can you tell us like a little bit, how do QA teams use the product? Like what do they actually do with the product? Do they, they run simulations in there? Like what can they do?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question, Lucas. So how it works is essentially when you are releasing an app, there are two ways to test it. One is you test it on emulators or simulators, which are like created environments or artificial environments, or which sort of simulate or emulate the behavior of a phone. But what Sofy does is Sofy offers real devices in the cloud for you to test. So mobile teams can test their apps on real devices using a SaaS platform instead of buying those hundreds of devices. Now within the testing landscape, there are multiple kinds of tests one can run. One can run a manual test, one can run an automated test, one can run unit test, regression tests. So within the entire universe of QA testing, Sofy covers all the use cases with sort of a no-code platform. So what a no-code platform means is essentially today developers spends hundreds of hours on sort of writing code to test the app on individual devices. Like today, the most of the devices are exploding. There are different screen sizes, different OS, and everything else. So it's difficult to write a code for all of those platforms in order to test the app. So what the no-code platform does is the engineering teams or QA teams can just simply come and design the process in the platform, and Sofy will do all the work of creating the code, executing the tests, creating reports, in their project management tools, sending the reports, sending a release status and tracking that and ensuring that it is on track. So that's how QA teams and engineering teams use Sofy and sort of save on costs and improve their productivity.
Super interesting, because typically, right, there's only a couple of devices in the office when you're testing, but now you have all the devices available. Actually, that has been a topic. With more and more people, more and more countries, being mobile first, you need all the range of devices, even like lower end phones, higher end phones. So interesting. So you make all of this accessible through the cloud for the guys to test.
Yeah. And so we make it accessible and we make it like really easy and like no brainer to sort of go and execute it. So so companies can sort of leverage, can make their developers focus on the actual development and not the testing.
Gotcha. So how do folks get to know about Sofy? Like, tell us a little bit about the journey, about how people are hearing about it. I mean, you're obviously in product marketing, so you're kind of between product and the marketing folks. So you might probably be hearing from both quite a bit. How do
Yeah.
people learn and get started? And maybe what are sort of the key acquisition channels?
Yeah, awesome. That's again a great question, Lucas. So, for we are a technical product in serving technical audiences or engineering audiences, and so for like the market we operate in, so for our customers like engineers and all, they don't want to sort of talk as much, but sort of lead in through their own understanding and how they go about it. So for the market we are operating in, the ability to see the product, as well as the content around it, as well as the support around it, on marketing or on different sort of places which they are present on already, is really important. So those there are multiple ways in which customers found out about us, through organic searches, through a product-led growth. Like, they are already using some other technical products which they are developing. So having our presence in there, having our presence on website, like they are obviously, whenever they are facing challenges, they are Googling, okay, how do I solve this challenge? And that's exactly how they find out about us. I mean, needless to say, for today, for literally for most of the type of companies, most of the type of audiences, Google search is a major driver in finding out about the product and about the company. But given like we are sort of targeting mid market to enterprise customers, a lot of our customers are actually also on LinkedIn and email. So that's also a key channel for potential customers for us, for them to find out about us. And yeah, as I mentioned, to summarize, like organic searches, website is a key. Then product integrations from a product standpoint is sort of key in potential customers reaching out to us or finding out about us.
Okay, interesting. One thing I wanted to ask you, because product marketing in itself is, in comparison to many other disciplines, a rather young discipline, right? I mean, it's been evolving obviously rapidly, but what does product marketing mean at Sofy? Like, what does it entail? Like, maybe what would be sort of the key things that you're working on?
Yeah, awesome. That's very interesting, and right, like that's a question I think all product marketeers today are trying to answer themselves and sort of figure out what's the most amount of value add they bring to the table at a company or in a product. So from my understanding, or how I see product marketing as, is like it's one of the key functions to coordinate between product marketing and sales. From a business perspective, it is one of the key functions which helps you find out where is your product market fit, and getting and sort of scaling that particular vertical, or scaling that particular segment of where your product market fit is. And sort of also at the same time, like one is obviously like figuring out the product market fit, getting the users, getting them to use it, and sorry.
Good.
And then obviously, like eventually once we are sort of scaling the channels which are working, we have to sort of also figure how do we upsell and how do we sort of increase the value of our platform and increase the value of the product which we are delivering to our customers. So like if you look at a very, like, this is again from a high level, if you get a little bit more micro. So you are basically responsible for everything from top of the funnel up until closure. So who are the like what product are we going to build? Who are the customers we are going to target? How are we going to target? What what channels are we going to reach out to them? What will be the positioning, messaging strategy? How do we sort of get into the minds of a customer and sort of get them to buy? So it and this role, product marketing role, can really like vary depending on the company, right? So if it's an enterprise SaaS company, the go to market model is very sales driven. So over there, while the product marketing person needs to focus on the product bit and the marketing bit, their key metrics also like are derived from how the sales are happening. What is the sales velocity? Are we reaching the revenue targets? Like how do we set up the whole sales process? For a self-serve company, or for a company with a go-to market which is self-serve, for them it becomes a lot about product, right? So sort of how do you create the right onboarding? How do you sort of create the right engagement tactics into the product, so that they sort of convert? And how do you sort of set a user or a potential customer to success when they sort of enter the platform? So and then again from a companies which have a more services model, marketing becomes a lot more important. So sort of what content are you creating to sort of get the users? How is that content helping in pushing them through the awareness, and like basically throughout the entire marketing funnel? So it is a very cross-functional role, and there's a lot of context switching which is needed, because you are always juggling between sales, product, and marketing. So over here at Sofy also, right, as I mentioned, we are sort of targeting companies from mid-market to enterprises, and we are sort of targeting developers within those. So our customers, again, because they have sort of very different buying behaviors, we sort of go both ways, wherein product marketing works on both the sales go to market as well as the product onboarding and product engagement, because we do have a self-serve product which customers can come sign up and sort of try out and sort of derive the value out of the platform themselves. So that's a brief, or like I would say detailed logistics about product marketing at Sofy.
Very cool. You mentioned a little bit the journey of people getting to know you guys in terms of the funnel, upper funnel, lower funnel. What role do you attribute to the website? Because obviously the website combines, how you speak about the product, how you position the product. What's your perspective? What role does the website play for Sofy?
Well, website for any company today, and especially for companies like us, website is a key property or a key channel to sort of drive value to our customer. That's the first thing, like, because we are a digital company, right? That's the first thing any potential customer or any visitor sees us through. So for us, right, like the way we present ourselves on the website is like the number one priority, and is like one of the most important aspects of how we drive customers to buy Sofy, or how do we drive customers into the platform. So this is one part of it, like basically users coming in to actually try. Then the other part is we are also doing our own reach outs, and like the sales team is sort of reaching out to their potential prospects and customers. So even when they hear about Sofy, they sort of get a link to a case study, or to a webinar, or to a white paper, or some content asset on the website. So in order for us to push them through the funnel as well, website ultimately becomes the channel in which they come into. So having like a really good customer journey on the website, having a really engaging website, having a really personalized website for our potential customers and having like a frictionless experience to sign up for the product, that also happens to the website. So all those things combined are sort of really important. And again, as it is for any tech company today, like it's the first property anybody sees, and that's where the awareness part starts.
I see. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your own journey. We learned about the company. We learned a little bit about the function of product marketing, and also how you're thinking about the journey of people getting started. I would be curious, product marketing as a discipline has been, in a way, growing really fast, right? There's a lot of content being created, like, and it touches on product. You mentioned product-led growth, which is another pillar of a huge amount of content, and then you have digital marketing. How do you filter like what to read? Like, what's your way to filter out what to read and not to read out there?
Yeah, awesome, Lucas. So, I mean, that's a great question, and usually, ultimately, it's about what does the customer want. Like, ultimately, that's the hard question we have to ask ourselves, and like everybody, and not just ourselves. We have to ask other people in our team, what does the customer want, and like getting really to the root of it, right? Like, okay, what is the value we are providing to the customer? What is the key message we are going to drive? What are the channels they are present on? Do they like to be do they want to see content, or do they want to explore themselves by themselves? So like these are all the questions we have to answer before we sort of figure out how do we balance digital marketing and how do we balance product and all of that. And once you sort of answer these questions, right, you sort of start thinking about the customer journey on a very high level sense. So once you start thinking about the customer journey, okay, how are they going to find out about us? They are going to find out about us from Google search. Okay, so that means that we need to be present on Google search and run either by content or by paid marketing. So we need to be better at SEO, we need to be better at the digital ads we are running, or the campaigns we are running. Okay, once they have found out about through us on the ad, what's the next step? They are going to come to the website, and they're going to do their research on our product and services. So then it is about optimizing that website experience, and it's about making sure they have the content they need to see. Like, again, as I mentioned earlier, we are present in a lot of verticals and a lot of size of the company. So the content can really vary, like the content we want to present, or the content which helps them drive the key message home, can really vary. So we have to sort of figure out how do we surface the right content to them. And so once we have sort of made them sign up on the website, then it's about, okay, how do we make the trial experience better? How do we make the product engaging? How do we sort of make sure that they are able to derive the value right within like 5 minutes of signing up on the platform? So these are, so that's how you start thinking about the product. And so you started from digital marketing, you came into product, and so now from product, well, ultimately our deal sizes are a minimum of $5,000, and nobody is directly paying you $5,000 directly on the website. So then that's when the sales process comes in. Okay, now we have made a customer sign up, they have sort of derived the value on the platform, they see the value on the platform. Now how do we make them pay? So that's when the sales team comes in, and that's when the product marketing starts thinking about, okay, how do we enable sales teams to sort of do better at selling? What sort of collaterals do we create? What sort of content do we create which helps them push through the journey? So yeah, like just to summarize, it's about understanding the customer journey, and once you have an understanding of the customer journey, you need to sort of pull the different levers which you have across the journey to make sure your potential customers are converting.
That's a very well-rounded answer to the question. I really appreciate this. Since we're slowly coming to an end of the interview, I want to give you my last question for today. And I want to do a little bit of a time travel with you and go back to the times of Cornell Tech, right? And I would basically like to ask you, because obviously you were diving into product marketing from there on, like, what's the one advice that you would give yourself? Finishing Cornell Tech is the first day you're done. Like, what's the one advice you would give yourself?
But from my perspective, I think the way I think about it is, I think I should have done a lot more networking in my time at Cornell Tech. So given that I come from a product background, right, and I had already worked on 3 startups as like a founder, or like a first team member, second team member. So being early in my career, I was very fixated on the ideas I wanted to work on, like on or the things I was passionate about. But Cornell Tech sort of really provides a great platform for you to sort of come and really challenge all of that thinking. But because I went into that with a little bit of fixated sort of ideas, I ended up working only on the products or on the projects which I wanted to. Whereas given the diversity of the program, given the diversity of Cornell Tech, given the kind of topics they touch upon, like both from a traditional business perspective and from a more technology products perspective, the kind of investors which come which come to the program and sort of help you through your projects. I think I should have went with a more open mind and tried out different projects. So that's my learning from Cornell Tech.
Very cool, Nikhil. I really appreciate you taking the time with us today and walked us through your world of product marketing, of Sofy, and also a little bit your own journey. So I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed today in the interview, what's the one thing that they should remember about Sofy?
Well, one of the things which we get a lot appreciated on is our focus on organic and product led growth. So we have been a bootstrapping company, and over a period of 5 years, we've been able to sort of turn profitable, and it has happened because of the focus on organic and product led growth. Most of the enterprise SaaS startups or most of the enterprise SaaS companies today sort of have 60 to 70 or 80% of their traffic coming from paid, and sort of have their problems. And like because of our focus and on organic and having a product led growth, we were able to do so without all the expensive VC funding.
Very cool. Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathon Presents.
Yeah, thanks Lucas for having me again.